right. Hello, everybody. My name is Nate Jones, and this is the Insurance Disruptors podcast. And I am co-hosting this with Abraham Busick right here. And Abe, how are you doing today, man?
Good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. You know, it's a Monday and the week is a canvas. So
Pumped to be doing our first podcast episode, right? Like, who would have thought?
yeah, I know. It's crazy. So why don't you tell us a little background about you and kind of how you got in the insurance business, what you're doing now, and so everybody knows.
Yeah. So a little background about me. I'm 32 years old and I've been in the insurance business for about 4.5 years now. And I actually went to college for criminal justice, Nate, believe it or not. The last thing I ever thought about becoming was an insurance sales agent for sure. But very grateful that I am now. But out of college, went right into warehouse management, did that for about 8 years. All different types of warehouses, from food management to healthcare management, and really got into insurance because I was tired of the amount of time that money was costing me for my family. You know, the income wasn't bad, but it was just costing me too much on the life side of things. And so started looking for something different, got into insurance on the life insurance side, and been around the block a little bit. And love what I do now. How about yourself, man? What's your background?
So I majored in insurance in college, but the only reason why I did is because I needed some scholarship money because I was paying for college by myself. And my brother was a senior and he goes, "Hey, you're running out of money, man." And I go, "I know, what am I going to do?" And he goes, "Well, if you major in insurance, you get a lot of scholarship money. So you should look into it." And so the only reason I looked into it, I didn't know if you knew that story or not.
I did not.
Yeah, the only reason I looked into it is because I was like, well, I need some money and I don't want to graduate with this mountain of debt. So I checked it out and I was like, oh, wow, this is actually a lot more lucrative and there's a lot more opportunity in it than I initially thought. So came out, I was an underwriter, which basically means I priced insurance for agents. And then I was a large commercial insurance producer. And then I worked on captive insurance for a little bit for a law firm. And then I decided to start my own insurance agency. And so it's been a ride.
You might be the first person that I've ever met that went to college for insurance in this industry. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Somebody who did that. Thinking back, like even about like how we got to where we are now, and you might have a similar story, but at my last company that I was at, I really thought that's where I was going to be for the rest of my life. But after being there for about 4 years, I built an agency and was an agency owner there. And I realized I was at a company that I didn't fit in anymore, where I was heading in life, what I thought the insurance industry offered to other people and how to go about that. And so, I think you kind of have a similar background. You had built, from what I understand, a pretty nice career with some other insurance companies. We don't need to name any names and get ourselves in trouble, but what caused you to step out on your own?
So I just kind of, the different places I've worked, I learned good things and I also learned some things that I would do differently. And I think stepping out and starting my own, I've always wanted to be an owner. And I realized the people who actually are the owner or the people who own it can actually set the culture up the way that it should be set up. The leadership comes from the top, and it is very hard to lead. I am not saying that it is easy, but I always thought of myself as a leader, and I saw an opportunity that I'm young, I can do it, I can step out, and really it's just the opportunity to be able to give back in this old, antiquated insurance industry. And there's a certain way of doing things, and I'm flipping that on its head, and you are too. And that's why I think this podcast work and why we're doing it is because we're disruptors. Disrupting means you're taking what is the norm and you're saying, no, we're challenging the status quo, flipping it on its head and doing it differently. So, yeah.
And I think one of the things I love about what you're doing with Wexford is I saw one of your posts one time, you said service is back.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. We kind of lost that, I think, in a post-COVID insurance world, right? Mm-hmm. Everything has become so automated and online. And while there's nothing wrong with that, there is an element of service that people want from insurance. And I think that's one of the things as well when we talk about being an insurance disruptor is you're not necessarily just in it for the income. You're providing a solution and walking your clients through that solution. And that's what I love. Since you started with Wexford and watching you grow, it's just that service is back for y'all.
Oh
And
yeah.
jump on a plane and fly to Florida from Indiana just to help a client.
I mean, it's some, like I always say, showing up to a hotel and they know your name and they walk you to your room is amazing. And I think that service is gone in insurance. Is how can we get a quote in 60 seconds? How can we bind business without touching the client? And that's a huge advantage if you can touch clients, because you have, I call them advocates out there. If you do a great job, it's the guy who tells everybody to go to the new restaurant in town. And if you have somebody who's doing that for you and you want to find the advocates, I mean, from one client that we got like 3 months ago, we've probably gotten 6 or 7 referrals from the guy. And it's like, if I would have just not touched him and if he didn't have that experience, we wouldn't have gotten those referrals.
Yeah. And it's so true. Like I think back to, I just, I do a little bit business, a little bit different being on the life side, but that service element is so key, even on the life insurance side. Just here recently, I found myself driving about an hour and a half away just to help a client's daughter he had passed away, help her walk her through how to file the death claims, be there in person, help her fill those out, help her make the phone call she needed to make to get those policies paid out. And when we were walking out, I'll never forget, she was like, none of the other insurance agents from his policies did this. She goes, I was lost. She goes, I don't have my insurance license. She's like, I have no idea what to do. And so I help, add in that service element. We might think that people don't want it, but in the insurance world, I think what we have to understand is we hold the license, right? We are the professionals. And if our only goal is to bind business, but not be there when the client needs us to help walk them through when that business needs to be cashed in for what they bought it for, then man, like what are we doing in the industry? We're here to truly add value to others. And that's what I love about Wexford and being able to make this partnership that we've made. So
yeah, and I think that's the biggest key right there is when you're looking for partnerships, make sure the culture is the same. Abe and I have the same type of approach, and the main approach is motivated by helping people regardless of our outcome. Abe isn't getting paid more to go out and visit that client for a death claim, but he's going because he wants to make sure his clients are taken care of. So it's going the extra mile. And I think that's what this podcast is about, is how can we share ideas with you guys? And we're going to do that 2 different ways. We're going to do it one way through content. So videos like this on specific topics that are going to provide training and different tips that we've learned throughout our journey in insurance, and also 2, through people we're going to interview. We have about 4 or 5 people that we have already kind of planned to interview, and we're going to have people in the insurance industry, outside of the insurance industry, because Abe said this the other day, and I loved it. He said the rules of success, or you can say it, is universal, right?
The principles of success are universal. And I'm sure I stole that from somebody else. So
yeah. But it's true. It's like, how can we bring people on where in sales, which I would say most people who are listening to this or will listen to this are in sales, and being able to have different ideas, because if you're not creative in sales and you don't have proven kind of tactics and like meeting with somebody, how to start a meeting, how to end a meeting, what do you do when you walk into the door and he's like this, how do you release pressure in the meeting? All these things that we've learned, and it can help you get to where you want to go faster and get to your goals a lot easier.
Yeah. And I think when we first started talking about doing this podcast, what really attracted me to it, excuse me, was being able to add value to people we may not even get any monetary value off of, right? Yeah. But we are in an industry, it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry. And I remember what it was like when I first started trying to get started in the insurance industry. It's kind of an industry where you eat your own if you're not careful, right? Because you're worried about, fighting for clients, and nobody seems to be really wanting to add value to you unless they get monetary funds off of you, right? Yeah. It's a company you work for, or a mentor paying somebody. And I just like helping people. I don't know about you, Nate, but like being able to help somebody else change their life, whether that's through P&C insurance, whether that's through life insurance, being able to play a small part in somebody changing their life financially, because the insurance industry will change your life financially if you do it right.
Mm.
But also being able just to be somebody who we can add value to others. I think one of my missions in life, is to add as much value to everybody as I can. If you do that, the money always circles back around. It always does. And so when we first started talking about this, I think I mentioned it to you, like, there's been other people who we've talked about doing this with, and we haven't done it because their motivation wasn't in the right place.
Yep.
I want this to be all about adding value to you guys, whether you work with us or for us or somebody else, who cares? There's plenty of clients out there for everybody. I mean, come on, like, and so if we can just help you make your mark in the insurance industry, change your family's life, change your client's life by what we do here, that's what makes this worth it for me. We're not getting paid to do this. This is something we're doing for free. And
Yeah.
I love it, right? That keeps the motives pure. So
Yeah. And that's the thing is, like, I think I had an hour conversation about a lady who wanted to start an insurance agency in New York. And at the end, she's like, can I pay you to continue to ask you for advice? And I said, no, just text me or give me a call if you ever have a question. And she was so put off. She's like, what do you mean? Like, you don't want to make money off this? And I said, no, I can tell it's hard enough to start off in this business and be successful. And the last thing you need is to be paying somebody hundreds of dollars as a consultant when there's enough content and stuff out there. And if you can help somebody out and they do it the right way, I think the whole connotation of insurance agents is increased. It makes us look better when you have somebody out there who's doing it the right way. So
well, yeah, it goes back to there's an old proverb, right, about this farmer, and he always grew this award-winning corn every year, right?
mm-hmm.
He always won all the awards at all the festivals and fairs. And somebody came to interview him about that, and they've noticed that he was sharing his great corn seed with all of his neighbor farmers, right? And the reporter asked him, he was like, "Why would you sell or share your award-winning corn tips and tricks and seeds with
Yeah.
your other farmers?" And he was like, "Look, if I want to raise good corn, I got to help my neighbors raise good corn, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do here. A rising tide raises all ships." And so we're doing this. This is going to be kind of a living document per se as we go through this, right? Some things might be a great hit, some might be a flop, and you know what? We'll learn this together. And I think that's the cool thing about it, though, right? We're not so far along that we're so far removed from what it's like to be new,
Yeah.
but we're also not brand new. We have some years of experience under our belt to be able to help and share with others. And so, I think about content when we started talking ahead, like, you're going to see us do episodes on, how to run a life insurance agency, how to sell a life insurance policy, how to sell a PNC policy, how to do what you're doing and build a PNC agency from scratch, just from hustle, and how to go about doing that. You might see us bring on people from other industries who talk about leadership. We talk about sales tactics, how to add value to clients and families. And I think that's the dream that I'm looking at with this as well, is like, we're not just going to teach you how to sell an insurance policy. This is going to add value to you and your business, your life, because it's going to be well-rounded content for everything, but it's also going to help you jumpstart your insurance career. So.
Yeah. And then that's kind of why, I mean, Abe and I met at a church and we both have kind of the same values. And I think that's the biggest thing is having people in your circle. And that can be through a podcast. That can be, we can be in your corner and answering questions and stuff like that. Cause it's hard to do it alone. You can do it alone, but we go so much faster, farther when we have other people in our corner. So I think that's kind of the thesis of our podcast. So
yeah, let's talk real briefly, if you don't mind, Nate, about the partnership we've made here recently with our two businesses, right? Real quick, why have we chosen to partner up together? So talk a little bit about from your perspective why we made this partnership, and I'll talk a little bit about why I think of from my perspective as well.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is making sure that you can add value to your clients. And if you're not a product expert in that product, which for me it's life insurance, I am very good at commercial insurance, personal insurance, and health insurance. Life is a part of that I would like to partner up with somebody. And that's when I found Abe. And I said, you know what? Partnering up with somebody who knows what they're doing is going to keep me out of trouble because I'm not selling a policy that I don't know anything about. And B, it's going to help me provide value to my clients because they're getting a great advisor in their corner that I couldn't answer questions on. And I mean, I have an example of this. There's somebody on our team who's an agent, and she was talking about Medicare supplements. I can't sell Medicare supplements because I haven't done the research and we don't get it that often. But we had somebody who called in who wanted a Medicare supplement. She's on our team and that's what she does. I referred her into the call and she's an agent for us and she killed it. She absolutely destroyed it. And like, obviously she's getting the lion's share of that commission, and she's getting it because she's an expert in that. And I could have not had that conversation. So the same thing on the life side. Abe is my guy when I get that referral and I'm saying, hey, help me with this. How can we do this? And it's like, you're helping me with that because that's the expert in that corner.
Yeah. And I think from my perspective, right, building a life insurance agency, why I wanted to partner with you as a PNC brokerage company is because the value that's going to add to our clients. You know, like, again, I'm really focused on trying to add value to clients, to agents, whatever. And, you know, I sit with, and my agents, we sit with homeowners, we sit with people looking to buy life insurance, but everybody has auto insurance. Everybody has renter's insurance or homeowner's insurance, not to mention you have a business insurance. And just being able to have that as a way to say to my clients, you know what, guys, you know, we got your life insurance taken care of today. Who do you guys have that you trust working on your personal insurance, like home, auto, and business, right? Yeah. Being able to say, you know what, I know I'm partnered with the person who's really the best in the industry at this, as a broker like I am when it comes to that. And let me give your information to them so we can continue to add value to you as a client. But in addition to that, I think it's cool because our partnerships allow both of our agents to add an extra stream of revenue,
yeah,
into their income. Because when you're first starting in insurance, any extra revenue you can get can be the difference of whether you make it or don't make it, right?
Oh yeah, and just providing like an agent that comes on. I had an interview with a guy last week, and I said we have two different kind of routes: the PNC route, which is a little bit longer, but as it builds up, you know, you have kind of a passive income book of business, or the life side where you can make money right away, and you can have access to leads, and you can ramp up and start making money faster. So it's kind of, for me on my side, when I bring on an agent, PNC takes time, but life insurance, you can make that money and pay for your house, pay for your family to eat and all this stuff while you're PNC. And it can be kind of, hey, you're sitting down with somebody about life. Well, that can also be a meeting for PNC. So I think going forward, it's a better opportunity for not only for my clients, but also for my agents to be successful, which allows them to continue to add value and not quit after 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, same way on my end, right? Like with my agents, when we sit with a homeowner or we sit with, you know, people for their life insurance, having them be able to say, you know what, let me help you with your home auto insurance or your business insurance, because now, you know, on the life insurance side, we run off leads for the most part, right? And so anytime my agents can help get more revenue off a lead, that's better profitability for them and their family, right? And so partnering with you guys on the PNC side is going to give my agents the opportunity now to take their profitability from each lead to a greater profit margin for themselves when they're looking at return on investment, right? And so I love it, man. I'm excited for the future of what we're going to do here.
Yeah, we're doing big things, man.
Yeah, I'm excited for this podcast though too, to be able to pour back into other people. I want to encourage everybody, and Nate, you probably would agree with this. Like, if you have topics you want us to discuss, you know, send them our way. Message us on Facebook. You can find us at the Insurance Disruptors on Facebook. I'm sure we'll be out there on some other podcast platforms that Nate's going to talk about here. But send stuff our way.
Yeah,
somebody who you think can add value to others by being interviewed. Man, we'd love to hear about it. We can't promise that we'll talk about every topic and interview every person that's suggested, right?
Yeah, we're on Facebook, Spotify, and YouTube right now. You can find us, The Insurance Disruptors. And before we close, we have one question, and this is kind of a sneak peek of what our videos are going to be like. And this is kind of high level question, but Abe, tell me the number one thing that you've learned in your insurance journey so far that you wish you would have known starting out.
Yeah, that's a tough one because there's so many things, right? When you're first getting started in insurance, you just don't know what you don't know. But I think for me, if I had to narrow it down, in the beginning, you can be so focused on making a sale that you forget that the person on the other side of the table or the other side of the phone or the other side of the camera is a human being who needs our help, right? And so if there's if I could go back to 2017 when I first started, I would tell myself, don't worry so much about the sale. Worry and focus on just make sure that that client is better off because of their conversation they have with you. Win, lose, or draw,
Yep.
right? They kick you out, whatever, right? But that client is better off because of the conversation they have with you. And really how that looks is just understanding, like when you're talking with the client, they're sitting with you because they have a problem.
Mm.
And we may not know what that problem is. So understand what they feel like the problem is by asking good questions, and then show solutions, not options when you're at, right? And how an option, because people buy solutions, but they hate to purchase options, right?
Yep.
They'll spend all kinds of money on solutions, but when you show them options, they could care less. And what's the difference between a solution and an option? An option really becomes a solution when you tie it to a problem they have that it can help resolve. So my advice would be focus less on the sale and focus more on adding value. Win, lose, or draw, that client, that individual is better off because of a conversation they have with you, whether they write a policy with you or whether they don't. How about you though, man? On the P&C side, what's you're building a different type of agency. You're building something from scratch with hustle. What would be your advice for somebody looking to do that?
Yeah, I wish I would have mine's more networking focused. So like when I say networking, I try to have a circle of influence. That's what I call it. I have a CPA, a lawyer, financial advisor, any possible person who can be of value to my client that I can't do, but would also, their client could be my client. When I'm networking, changing my mindset from how can I get referrals from them to the mindset of, can I count and trust on this person that when I'm sitting down with a prospect and they say, man, I need to find a CPA, I need to find an accountant right now, I can say, hey, go to Ben, he will get you taken care of. And when I sit down with Ben, actually saying, hey, look, I don't expect anything in return to this conversation. The only thing I'm looking for is that I trust you when I refer my client. Because a lot of people think of networking and they're like, oh, well, I have referrals coming in from an attorney, a CPA, all these people, but they forget that some of your best networking partners and referral partners are your own clients. So if I refer him to a lawyer that gets him out of a stink, gets him out of something, they're going to be like, man, my insurance agent, he doesn't just do insurance. Like I ask him for anything. And when you're that connector, he will connect me with more people, even if like I'm not the solution, but that opens up doors on the other side of it. And when I give referrals to a CPA, I don't care who you are. If somebody gives you something, you're going to want to give back. So my viewpoint is like, hey, how can I not receive, but how can I give first? And then eventually, who knows, even if it doesn't come back, like that client relationship is so much stickier now because I helped them out. So,
yeah, man, the one thing I've learned in insurance, and this is really in life, everything comes full circle. It always comes back in one form or another, right? When you're putting out care and helping others and putting people first, even if it doesn't come directly from that person, it always manages to come back around to you in another way, shape, or form. And so, yeah, man, cool. Well, hey, I am excited for what we're going to do here. We'll release some more topics going forward. I appreciate your partnership with this, Nate, and look forward to working with you, man. And to all you out there listening, like, follow, subscribe. Nate will go in here in a second. So,
yeah, again, we're the Insurance Disruptors, Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. If you want us, we're going to be tackling some topics. We have some content coming forward. But if you think of anything, just comment below, get in touch with us. We have everything on our Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. And hopefully this adds value to you. So, and Abe, thanks so much, man. I think this is going to be great. I'm pumped. And I like the logo in the back, man. I like that.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, hey, guys out there, let's crush it this week. Go out and hit your goals. If you need any help with anything, man, reach out to us. That's what we're here for. So,
yep. All right.
All right, guys, have a good one.